Coming up on Beavers All-Access, the stage was set for one of the most historic Civil War showdowns in recent memory, as a win over the Ducks would send Oregon State to the Rose Bowl. But the Beaver D couldn't dam up Oregon's ground game, and the Ducks ran wild on their way to a blowout win in Reeser.
Masoli fakes it to Blunt, keeps and gets the corner, and he gets into the end zone.
While the Beavers probably won't be spending New Year's Day in Pasadena, it was still a great season. And we'll look back at how the team got to this point.
Looks and throws toward the back of the end zone. Tip! Caught! Touchdown, Beavers! James Rogers!
Plus, we'll take a moment to honor a great senior class and see where they can end their college careers as we lay out possible bowl game scenarios. So don't be green with envy, OSU fans, because it's still a great day to be a Beaver, because Beavers All-Access starts right now.
What a Civil War day it was. Everybody came out to see this one, and rightfully so, with the opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl for Oregon State. 46,319 at Reeser. That's a new Reeser record. They just didn't see the outcome they wanted to. Steve, let's talk a little bit about the game, because while Oregon jumped out to that early lead, Oregon State really never went away.
Well, you know, this is a game where Oregon State got taken out of their game early. First of all, by the quiz. They didn't have the quiz there. That changed a lot, but it was also getting behind quickly. When you get behind, you got to throw the football. 51 throws is not the balanced offense that Mike Riley likes to have. They still stayed in contact. I mean, all through the game, as much as the big plays happened, as many of the things that went the wrong way, the Beavers are still in the game offensively all the way along.
Yeah, they found a way to go ahead and create some magic, get the fans into it, but it just seemed that the Ducks answered every single time. You mentioned 51 throws. Lyle Moivau, in my opinion, had one of his best games as a Beaver, 27 of 51. He throws 5 touchdowns. That's a career high. But he did more than that out on the field.
Well, his feet got him out of a lot of trouble. They saved the Beavers from a number of sacks. He was sacked 3 times, I believe, tonight. And he had just a tough night all along because he was throwing always with long yardage situation. His feet were as good as they get. He threw the ball away, probably threw 5, 7 passes just to get him out of bounds and keep a long sack in the process. So he did a great job. I thought it was his best game. He looked like he was full speed, looked like the Lyle of the first 6 games.
Some people have said that he couldn't make the throws, but tonight he made a lot of great throws and a lot of great decisions as well. But the problem was he kept running up against an offense, and I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because he wasn't playing against the Oregon offense, but Oregon's best defense might have been their offense.
Well, it was, because you know they didn't keep the ball a long time. They just kept having one big play after another. Jeremiah Johnson had an 83 and a 76. The Beavers out first downed the Ducks 25-20, but they had 5 plays over 46 yards, 2 interception returns for touchdown, just all over the field, big plays. The offense at Oregon State couldn't run up the score to catch up with the Ducks.
Tell me, though, Steve, what was the difference? Because it looked as though at times Oregon State wasn't sure. They did a great job masking who had the ball with Oregon's offense, but were they do something different that the 2 weeks gave them time to prepare for?
Absolutely. That was a tremendous advantage in this case. A lot of times it isn't. A lot of times the 2 weeks, you know, get you out of kilter a little bit. But the Ducks used it to work on their no-huddle offense. The Beavers had not seen that from the Ducks. It was always supposed to be something that could happen, but it didn't happen. They also used a lot of movement of the backs. They knew that the Beavers in the past had set up against this offense by aligning their linemen basically in a position to stop that lead that they run all the time. Oregon in this case was sending that back in motion, changing the strength of the formation, running the same play back to the other side, and bouncing it out. So great job of coaching by Oregon State, or Oregon's offensive folks.
Yeah, they certainly were able to get it done. We talked about it all throughout the radio broadcast, and that was the Oregon State front 7 against Jeremiah Masoli, and Oregon were able to come out victorious. Again, that final score 65-38, a game in which there was over 1,100 yards of offense. I don't think anybody really expected that big a game.
Well, I was truthfully thinking that the Beavers defense has played so well. You know, all season long when the Beavers have started out poorly, but they came back and they stopped the run, and I thought this is going to be a chance for Oregon State's defense, who'd been averaging 87 yards since those first 2 games, to really put the stop on the best running game in the Pac-10. Didn't turn out that way. 394 yards the Ducks racked up.
Well, it certainly was fun, though, talking about the Rose Bowl, the opportunity to get to the Rose Bowl. How did Oregon State even get to that point? We'll tell you all about that when we come back.
Oregon showing blitz. They rush for Moyval with a screen to Francis. Makes the catch. Breaks a tackle. 15 to the 10. To the 5. And in! Touchdown, Beavers! Moyval, the pass from center. Lyle sets. Looks. Throws. Back of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Beavers. Shane Morales.
You're watching Beavers All-Access on FSN.
Just talking about Oregon State going to the Rose Bowl was really a thrill. Everybody in the state was excited about what Oregon State did, but it didn't look that way early. They lose at Stanford. They lose at Penn State. And, Steve, here's a team 0-2, wondering what kind of season is this going to be. When did it turn? How did it turn?
Well, if you remember that Hawaii game, number 3, early in the game, Hawaii runs right down the field and scores, and I'm beginning to think, wow, this is going to be a long year. Right then, defense changed. They started playing good football. The offense came to life after missing a couple early field goals when they should have had points. They fought back. They won that one. Then they get to the big game. You know, they beat USC, and everybody starts thinking, wow, what is going on here? They play well. They get what I thought was a turning point in the season was the loss at Utah. I felt like that Oregon State stayed in that game. They made a couple of mistakes at the end that were young mistakes, young people not knowing how to win at the right time. But it said to them that they can compete with anybody. They'd beaten the number 1. They just played a top 10, and they could play the rest of the season. And kind of took off from there. They were unbeatable then for a couple of 3 weeks.
November, as we know, had 5 games in it, and it started off with Arizona State. That one, a tremendous win against a team that had some focus. I didn't know that was going to turn out right, but it was a big plus.
Well, Arizona State had to win that game. They got down to the last minute or so, and you remember Victor Butler comes up with an interception in the end zone. Again, Victor is not sure whether he's a defensive back or a defensive end, but wonderful play. They won the close games then. They go on a tear, beating Arizona State. Big win at UCLA, if you recall. First time Mike had ever won against UCLA, even as an assistant at USC. The Arizona game was kind of the culmination. You get talent in the meantime. In the Arizona game, the culmination of the most amazing victory I think I've seen in years from Oregon State. How you come from where they did to win that football game and propel them into all this talk and all this opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl.
Now, the national discussion of Oregon State in the Rose Bowl really took on a life of its own, and to have a team that was picked 6th, to finish 2nd as this team did, and to have an opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl. You've been around this team for so long, and to have that energy and that desire and that focus, and to see Beaver Nation the way it was this year, what did that mean to you?
Well, as a Beaver, it was remarkable. You saw people who I'd gone to school with that couldn't believe that they were going to finally get this chance to go. The kids in this program, I think, believe it's possible now. I'm not sure that Mike and his staff really thought they could be playing for the Rose Bowl as quickly as they have. They thought, we'll get a good program, we'll win every year, we'll build the kind of thing we want. But to actually beat the number 1 team in the country, be in this picture for as long as we did, it's going to be remarkable for recruiting. I can tell you that Oregon State has had call after call because of this pub we've gotten nationally through ESPN, through all the polls, through the quiz, through the Rogers brothers, through everything. It's been remarkable for the Beavers.
It's really been a great run for the team overall, and things look really good. I mean, I think they've established themselves as a great program, not just a team that's up and coming. Now they are a great program and want to continue that. 3 years of great success. They look to continue that. How did they get there? One of the ways they got there was with this year's group of seniors. We'll talk about them when we come back for more Beavers All Access.